Old versus new. Pentax Forum staff writer Chris Viola here with a new series looking at vintage film era Pentax glass versus the latest and greatest digital lenses. This week we're pitting the 1975 50mm SMC F1.2, one of the original K-Mount lenses launched by Pentax with the first three cameras 50 years ago, against the DFA, I believe, 52.8 Macro, one of the sharpest of the modern digital lenses. Take a look and enjoy and have a great Pentaxian day. I've tried to shoot everything here, both wide open and at f5.6, which is my go-to f-stop when I'm looking to shoot a lens at its best performance. And that's why you see some duplicate looking shots in here, because I'm trying to show you both what the lens can do wide open and what it can do when it's kind of in its sweet spot. But you have to decide for yourself how you shoot that way. And that's the same thing for these lenses. There's not a winner or a loser here. These lenses, to me, have fairly different roles, and the question is, what suits you best? I carried the 51.2 for decades because when I was shooting LXs loaded with film, having that extra speed meant the difference between getting a shot in the front page of the newspaper and not getting either one. So it's always going to be great for me that way. The focus rack on it is terrific. It's built like a tank. I love the way it renders. It's a great lens and it stays in my bag. These days though, my main daily camera is the Pentax K-3 III Monochrome, and with its insane ability to shoot at something like over 100,000 ISO, really don't need that kind of speed as much anymore. So I tend to find the macro is on my camera more often just because I really like that macro capability. But either of these lenses is brilliant, and you should use the one that suits you most. That's Chris Viola for Pentax Forums. Have a great Pentaxian day.